Now I am.
Great. Okay. So, all right. So basically, I wanted to start this week by, I want to change up the format a little bit about, this week from what we've done in the past. But in order to do this, I'm going to need a little bit of your help. Okay. So first of all, thank everybody for being here. We really appreciate it. But what I want to try to do is I want to try to make this a little bit more interactive. In other words, most of the time it's just the coaches who are talking. I'd really like to have some other people kind of, responding and participating. So during the presentation, I'm going to ask a bunch of questions. Now, some of them, a lot of them, are going to be just, yes, no questions. So you can just say, yeah, yes, yeah, mm-hmm, or just nod your head or whatever. But some of them are actually going to ask for your opinions, and I'd love it if one or two of you would be willing to give your thoughts too, okay? So let's start. All right. Can everybody still see the screen properly? Or is there like a block in front of it? You're seeing it fine?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right. So what I'm going to do, so let me get started then. So tonight's thing is about giving yourself credit. So do you ever find yourself, in yourself that your tendency is, when dealing especially with things like weight loss, is to usually focus on what it is that you didn't do? How many times have you told yourself how bad you are? How many times have you nitpicked every little thing that you've done until you come to the conclusion that basically you don't really do it right? Anybody? How does that make you feel? That's a question.
Chevy says it feels awful.
Yeah, it does. So, but we want to be successful, don't we?
Yes.
Okay. And to be successful in most things, doesn't it usually help to feel successful?
Yes. Dave, Chevy typed in, and it also pulls you down and like in a spiral effect.
Yeah, let me pull up that so I can keep track of it. Yes, you're absolutely right. So we all need to believe that we can do it, whatever it is, right? So, but we seem to very often focus on the negative. The scale went up by 0.2 pounds today. It must be because I ate that, whatever. But we know really that we do things that are right at least sometimes, right?
Yes.
Okay. So why can't we just give ourselves credit for it?
Guilt?
Yeah, very often. So
I think it's human nature to be more hard on ourselves.
Right. But it doesn't help. So here's the thing. Do you think that most people can generally do things perfectly almost ever?
Nope.
Most people fail a lot. In fact, most successful people will tell you that failure is the key to success because it's how we learn and improve. Well, that didn't work, did it? Right? So how about you? Are you holding yourself to a reasonable standard? Do you only focus on your mistakes? Well, if you do, unfortunately, you're not alone because you'd be surprised at how many people do exactly that. But what if you actually gave yourself credit for doing things right? What sorts of things could you give yourself credit for in terms of your health journey? Could you give yourself credit for good food choices? We all make good food choices, right? Could you do that?
Or that you drink enough water in a day?
Good. That's good. Another good one. How about, could you give yourself credit for reading your advantages list?
Mm-hmm.
Could you give yourself credit for resisting taking an extra helping?
Yep.
What else could you give yourself credit for? We said drinking water. What else?
Exercising.
Exercising. Great. Or taking a long walk, even if it's not like going to the gym and but just taking a long walk and and doing some exercise that way. That's a good thing. Could you give yourself credit for that? What else can you give yourself credit for?
Sticking to plan.
Sticking to your plan. Excellent.
Eating
right.
protein if you're hungry.
Yep.
Instead of
Those are
some
good things. Yes, actually, yes, Samara, you're right. Giving yourselves credit for making the choice to be here and learning the habits of health and participating in sport calls. Actually, that's a great one. Participating in your improved self-improvement and in community, all those kinds of things. Those are great. So actually, that's a very good one. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
So let me ask you: do you think that this is important to do these things? To give yourself credit for these things? Do you think it's important?
Absolutely.
Okay. So can somebody tell me why you think it's important, or why you do, or why not?
I think it's important because you reinforce good behaviors by giving yourself credit for the good choices you're making.
Excellent. Anyone else?
I think it motivates you when you can focus on something positive. It motivates you to do more positive things rather than to be like pulled down in the negativity.
Very good. Right. That's true. And I like, and the Rosner said, the Rosner family said that we continue to stay strong when we give ourselves credit. And yes, that's true, because it's the more credit that you give yourself, and the more that you believe that you can do this right, the more you feel empowered to do more of it. Isn't that right?
Yeah.
Okay. Good. So if all you focus on is on the negatives, do you think that really gives you a realistic view of how you're really doing?
Nope.
No.
Wouldn't it be better to have a truer perspective? So ask yourself, what percentage of the time do you think you do the right thing versus the wrong thing? Are you curious? Wouldn't it help to really, to kind of know better so that you could really believe that, that you can do it? Wouldn't that help?
I think women probably do this more than men. What do you think?
Think they do what more than men? You are down on themselves?
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't bet on it.
Nope.
I honestly, I'm not sure if there's any difference, because you know what, it's everybody. We all tend to self-deprecate. We all tend to give ourselves a lot less credit than we really deserve. We do. So do you think it would help to know that you could do it? Well, of course it would. So really, what tonight I'm going to do is I'm going to issue you all a challenge. I'm not calling it homework. I'm calling it a challenge. So for this week, what I would like you to do is try to notice all of the good things that you do, the good health choices that you make. Can you do that?
Yeah.
I want you to, can you write them down? Just write them down somewhere. And at the end of the week, can you count them up and see just how many good choices you actually made?
Just write them in the WhatsApp group.
No, you don't need to write them in the WhatsApp
We
group.
need Facebook group more. WhatsApp is
You don't
busy
need
enough.
to do that. No, I'm talking about, we don't want a whole list of, oh, yes, I did this right, I did that right. I want you to have that list for you. It's not about sharing the list. It's about counting them up and seeing how well you did. Because I think that you'll be surprised at how well you did. I mean, we all think that we do so poorly. It might be very helpful to know that, what, maybe you didn't do so poorly. And lastly, next week, would you be willing to share your experiences? Now, that's not sharing all the good things you did. I'm not asking you to go into a detailed analysis of everything that you think you did right. But I want you to kind of think about what your experience was like. How did this experiment change your view of yourself and your capacity to make those good choices? That's what I want you to think about. You kind of get a better idea of how many good things that you're doing and how much right you're doing, and then think about how that affects you. And then if you'd like to share it, just let your coach know, and we'll pick 2 for next week. So that's our presentation for tonight. That's it.
Dave, Samara said something really nice here in the comments, that focusing on the positive could help lead us to use our mistakes as learning experiences as opposed to just negative things.
Absolutely. Absolutely. That is exactly right. And that's what part of the point of this is. That's exactly the point, is that you see what it is, and I hear what you're saying. What you're saying is that even the mistakes could be, to work right, and that's great. But the idea is to focus on the good, to focus on what you do right, because we focus so much wrong. Sorry for not actually talking too much background. Okay, but we so much wrong in what we do, we focus so much on the negative. You really need to focus on the positive. So like I said, so that's going to end our presentation for tonight. And as usual, we're going to end with the tips for success.
Right. Before that, we want to thank David for presenting, but we want to ask anyone if they have any questions or anything they'd like to share based on any that David spoke about, or if we have any NSVs, what we would call non-scale victories that we might have had this past week. I know some of us have shared in the group.
Well, I was going to hand this over to Sherry anyway, so thank you.
I just stole it from you.
That's fine.
Well, I want to share that I had a lot of clients do really well. This some exciting. Two of my clients reached their goal weights, and one got off her blood pressure medication, and so those are exciting things happening, within our community.
Good.
Anyone else want to share?
Anyone have any questions? I think somebody was about to say something, and then
Right. Someone got cut off.
It sounds like Stacy.
That's me too.
I'm going to share. I was looking to see if the person is on the call. I know that this person looks like not on the call, but I know they're very private, and I'm not saying who. I just wanted to give credit where credit is due, that as of this week, I have a client who has lost 106 pounds.
Ooh.
So
Wow.
this program can change lives very drastically. And if that is not drastic,
Wow.
and she's been able to avoid having to have knee surgery.
Wow.
And I just think that it's pretty phenomenal.
Wow.
Okay. Well,
I could give an example of just what David was talking about in preparation for next week. Everyone could think about it. But when I lost my 50 pounds 7 years ago, and I remember it was before one of my kids' weddings, and I remember saying to my daughter, like, oh, I still have to lose like over here, or, whatever. I still feel like I could lose more or whatever. And I remember her saying, Mom, you look skinny, like, stop it. Like, give yourself credit. Like, you worked hard, you lost a lot of weight, you did boot camp, whatever it was, you did something major, and just recognize that and relish in it. Like, be happy, celebrate what you did. You know what I mean? Don't keep looking like, oh, I could do some more. Or, oh, like I was being negative, and I didn't celebrate. I mean, maybe a little bit, but not enough. Exactly. I was looking for negative,
Exactly. And that's what, like I said, it's so common that people do that. And it's really, it's a strategy to be able to help yourself move forward, is really to be able to look at things in a positive light and not be so negative about yourself. It really makes a huge difference. If you're thinking, hey, you know what, I'm pretty good. I can do this. This is, look at all these good things that I've done. This is great. Then you do more of them because you can.
Something that I have learned along the way during these last 4 years, I don't remember who I learned it from, but I remember it being said to me on a few occasions. I've told this to many of my clients when they get down on themselves. And I said, you don't have to be perfect. It's not about 100%. What I heard was that someone said, if you make the right choices 80% of the time, and 20% of the time, maybe not, you're still going to be way ahead of the game. So like, you know, kind of don't go for perfection, but 80% really good. And in general, you're still going to see progress. If you're doing 80% of the things right, you're still going to see progress. So it's just a way to put things into perspective.
Anyway, all right. Well, thank you very much. And Sherry?
Gary, okay.
Sherry, you wanna take it from there?
Well, you know, I think I'll take it over because I'm doing the wrap up of the wrap up. So, thank you so much, David and Stacey, for sharing tonight, and Sherry for speaking, and for everyone who participated. You all make such a big difference in this call. So thank you. And I'm just going to go over what we do on every call, just because they're like the cornerstone foundation of this program, as far as the nutritional and psychological aspect of the program that will ensure your success. So, you know, drinking your water is so important. You know, a lot of people, the first thing I'll say, if someone says that, you know, they're not losing as much as they want, they're not feeling energetic, they're hungry, the very first thing I ask them is, how much water are you drinking? And a majority of the time, that is what the reason is they're not getting enough water. So really, you know, it's a really important aspect. I can't stress it enough. And it's not about weight loss. It's about your health. Your body needs the water. So just, you know, if you have to keep, you know, adding cups every week to get yourself up to the amount you need, do that, and, you know, have a way to measure it, you know. So that's the water for today. And then, you know, keeping our blood sugar even throughout the day is, you know, also very important. So we don't get overly hungry. We don't have spikes in our blood sugar. And you might have to set an alarm for yourself to achieve this and make it a priority. You know, put yourself first. You know, we are important. Even if you take care of a lot of people put their families first and their jobs first. And, you know, really, we need, in order to take care of other people, we need to take care of ourselves. So, you know, keep that in mind. And measuring your lean and green, you know, you could eyeball it. I always recommend, at least in the beginning, weighing and measuring just to get an idea, and then eyeballing it. And if you're going to measure one and not the other, oddly enough, I'm going to tell you measure your vegetables and not your protein, because on this program, because it's mainly to do with the carbs, you want to be more careful with your vegetables than with your protein. So, you know, ask your coach more about that if you have any questions, but that's my advice. And keeping a food log is a great habit for health, for life. And so it's a great time to start now. You know, I'm doing it. I'm on maintenance. I log my food. I find it keeps me on track and accountable. And in the beginning, it wasn't a habit yet. So it was really difficult. Now it's like just part of my routine, and I find it very helpful. Speaking to your coach regularly, you know, that's really important. A lot of people will call me after something goes wrong, or in a situation where if you call your coach before something goes wrong. Like, you know, if you're having a special occasion or a trip, call your coach to strategize how you can get through these difficult, challenging situations. So we're not, you know, picking up the pieces afterwards, which, you know, is something we sometimes have to do, but it's always better to plan ahead and call first. So, and we love to speak to you guys. So, you know, call. And reading, you know, keeps our head in the game. You know, we have the 3 books that are, you know, we are on the screen, The Habits of Health, the workbook, and the Diet Trap Solution. And there are many other books that you could utilize to just, for personal growth, to just grow and become healthier. You know, the more we learn about our bodies, our health, just keeps our head in the game. So with that, if anyone does, you know, has anything to say, we'll take any questions, and anyone that wants to stay on this call, especially the ones that want to discuss the upcoming Sunday event that some people are concerned about, they could stay on. And for the Orthodox Jews that, and then everyone else can, have a great night. And that's it. Have a great night.